All right, what's up? We're gonna talk about our trip in North Carolina. We said we were gonna end it. We had 2 bullets in the main event and 2 bullets in the $600 100K guaranteed. And we said we were gonna end it that Sunday. We said we're done, big downswing. We're down like 5 grand after everything. And then Monday, there was a high roller event. And I decided to put 2 bullets into the high roller event. Punted about all that money in about 2 to 3 hours of play and played some pretty bad poker. And I think a lot of it came out of tilt, a lot of it came out of I want to spin it up and try to win some fast money here. And these are some of the challenges that poker players for sure go through, and I know myself that I myself is going through as well. And you know, this year when I first started, I had an amazing upswing. My very first month of this year, I won a good run good event for 13 grand, and then right afterwards I played the Prime Social $5,300 tournament. I satellited in and then cashed about 2.5x my buy-in and won 10 grand there. And I mean, I started off the year at almost a 20 grand profit. And I mean, when you make that kind of money really fast, you want to take shots, you want to get to 100 grand. You don't want to be 20 grand profit, you want to get 100 grand profit. And I think that's one of the hard parts of poker and just sticking to your grind, because if I stayed away from those 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 buy-ins after I got lucky in the first beginning of this year, I would still be up real nicely, and I could go through some of that variance, because there's just going to be variance that you got to go through in poker. And yeah, so we're up like 20 grand on this year, and now we fell back down about 10 to almost 15 of it back. And I mean, that's including expenses, traveling, and yeah, just playing some really big tournaments that are outside my bankroll. So anyways, I did record that $2,200 high roller event. I put 2 bullets in, and I'm kind of embarrassed by it, but I'm just gonna be transparent and just show how badly I punted that run. So enjoy, and from here on out, you will be seeing a lot lower buy-ins, at least until I can, you know, have a good padding for this year. So let's take it a little slower, guys. We'll see you. Before I begin, the amount of hands I got for these 2 bullets are pretty minimal. At some point, I just stopped recording. I'm pretty sure I made some stupid plays and probably felt terrible afterwards. So I decided to shut it down. It's actually pretty funny looking back at it now, but I remember in the moment I was fuming and probably was playing some bad poker. It's definitely good to watch out for when you're tilted. Just knowing from playing esports competitively, it's super important to make sure your mental state is 1,000,000%. Anyways, a little lesson to be learned here. So without further ado, let's get into the action. We're sitting down right at the tournament start with a stack of 30,000, and it's deep. We have 300 bigs, and we're here to play. This event is a hyper turbo, so it will be going fast. I think we had 20-minute levels, and our very first hand of this tournament, with only 4 people at the table, we have Jack 6 off in the big blind. We get a 4-way limped pot and we check. Flop comes Jack 10-7, a rainbow. Small blind checks, and I donk bet for 100. Folds to the small blind, and he makes the call. Turn comes a 6, and we have a big blind special 2 pair. Small blind checks, and we bet 500. Small blind calls, and the river is a 5. Small blind checks, and we bet 500 once again. Can't remember what I was targeting, but I felt like I had the best hand most of the times against small blinds range here. So hoping for a call, and he folds. Very first hand of the day, felt like it was a nice way to set the tone of the day. However, as we already know, the day had other plans. A few orbits later, we have about 33,000 in our stack, and we see King 7 of Hearts in the small blind. It's still level 1, and we get a hijack open to 300. We're only 5-handed, and I decide on making this a good candidate to 3-bet. We make it 900, it folds back to hijack, he makes the call. It's heads up, and we get a flop of King 7-4 with 2 diamonds. We have top 2, let's go. We c-bet for 700, and we get a call. Turn is the Jack of Clubs. This is pretty much a brick. I'm honestly putting him on some type of draw. So let's charge. I choose the size of 2,000. Hijack makes the call again, and the river comes another 7.
No flush draw completed, but we've voted up. That's good value. Hopefully hijack has ace king here and we get paid. So we bet 7,000. We get the call. Let's go, huge pot in the $2,200 high roller. After a lot of folding for what seemed like forever, we finally found a hand at level 5. Yes, it's already level 5 until we've seen a significant hand. It's 20-minute levels, so it's going fast. We're down to 38,000 from a peak of 45,000. We find a spot with pocket tens in the small blind. Under the gun opens to 1,500. Middle position calls. It folds to me, and I squeeze to 7,300. Under the gun calls, middle position calls, and we get the dream flop of 10-7 rainbow. Let's go. When we hit top set on a pretty dry board, I usually just want to check back here. It makes sense. It seems like when we hit top set on a pretty dry board, I usually just want to check here to make it seem like I have ace king and hopefully someone bluffs. So when I check, under the gun checks, middle position checks as well, and the turn comes a 5. I check once again. Yes, I could bet here, but I'm genuinely thinking under the gun and middle position both have overcards. They could be checking back some lower pocket pairs that I'm missing value from, but it seems like if I bet, they'll fold. So I check, and under the gun now bets 7,000. Middle position folds, and we reeled him in. Our plan is working, so guess what I do? I raise to 15,000. What the heck, Kenny? Your thought processes were perfect, but yet you raise. I'm really not sure what I was thinking in that moment, but looking back, I'm pretty sure he had only like 7K behind, so I was thinking he'd call anything. I guess I was wrong. He probably wasn't going to fire the river with only 7K left. I don't know. But he says he had ace 10 for top pair, top kicker, which I don't really believe. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. We don't have much happen for almost 2 levels. It's now level 7, and we have queen 9 of diamonds in the big blind. It folds to the button. He has 2,400 behind and just open shoves what he has left. Small blind flats. I go ahead and make the flat call as well. The flop comes 3 jack 10 with 2 diamonds. We flop the world. Small blind checks, and I bet 2,000. Small blind calls, and the turn is the 6 of diamonds. We hit the flush. Small blind checks again, and I now fire for 3,000. I see that he only has about 10,000 behind, and I'm just trying to keep the bet small to keep more of his trashy hands in, and small blind makes the call. The river is the 8 of spades. Small blind checks again, and we put them all in. Small blind folds, and we scoop. We needed that spot. Now at level 8, blinds are 1,500, and we have about 60K in our stack. We're feeling pretty good about our spot in this tournament. I'm chip leading our table, and I'm putting people in tough spots. It gets even better when we pick up 4-5 off in the big blind and pull off a successful bluff. We get an under the gun open to 2,500. He has about 30K behind, and we're in the big blind with 4-5 offsuit. We make the call defending our blind, and flop comes 3-7 jack with 2 clubs. I check, and under the gun C bets for 2,400. I have a gut shot, and that's it. I hate calling the try and realize so little equity, so I decide to check raise as a bluff. I make it 6,500. Under the gun makes the call. The turn is the deuce of clubs. I do not have a club in my hand, but I have 5 high, and I believe he can float light here. So I fire 9,000, and we get the fold. Let's go. We have over 70,000 in our stack, and if I fold my way towards the money, we can secure a min cash? Maybe. However, after this hand, I shut down the camera. It's an interesting spot, and looking back at it now, GTO says it's fine for chip EV, but I believe I could have folded it if I looked at it through an ICM lens. So at our final hand, before I shut down the camera, I have ace queen off on the button. I have 70K behind, and blinds are 1,200, 600. I open it up to 2,500, and small blind now 3 bets me to 7,000. He's honestly not done much, but we also remember it's a hyper turbo structure, so I can't classify this player as only 3 betting the nuts. So with me having the chip lead at this table, I decide to 4-bet, shove, and I put small blind all in and to the test for his tournament life. I believe a lot of these players are capable of folding jack-jack or 10-10 here when the buy-in is especially a $2,200 buy-in. He had about 37K behind him, and he snap calls with one of the 2 hands I did not want to see. Pocket aces. Yes, my heart sunk, and after that run out, I proceeded to punt off my first bullet and the entirety of my second bullet with no footage. How do I feel looking back at it all? To be honest, a bit embarrassed, and I honestly contemplated not posting any of these tournaments that I've recently lost. But that wouldn't show the true struggles of someone trying to do this full time, would it? By the way, I lied. I do have some more footage. Let's see the final runouts.
Cool.
Sheesh.
I'm lying.
Ran into it. Nice.
I got a problem. I don't play no gas.
Good timing?
That's terrible timing. Oh, yeah.
For Bearcat over there.
I think he killed.
I'll play ACL.
30, 50, 65,
I hate cash. It's too tough.
67,
Too tough to
5.
maybe no fun.
675. There's
I
60.
don't play for money anyways. Just go to the tournament. Better run
7.
scores.
5. Make sure that's right.
You play ACL?